Hi, welcome everyone who could make it to this live stream practice that I'm offering today. So this is Jen Healy with the AYRx Yoga Swings. This is the AerialYogaPlay combined with the AYRx Therapeutics. And I'm offering a virtual training coming up in February. I was going to do it this weekend, and I ran into some technical difficulties getting the internet just right. So I wanted to do this one-day experience where I'm giving you an overview, and you get to preview and sample a lot of what we're going to cover in that weekend. So I'm going to get in the swing and talk to you. Feel free to come into a sumo squat with me if you're ready to hang. If you're brand new to the practice, just hang out with me for a little while. I'm going to do just a few minute review, and then we're going to get started. So what I want to do is offer you an experience where you can really get in tune and in touch with your body, with the swing. And what I'm going to do is really more of my own personal practice. I'm going to just give you a little heads up. I'm here in Hawaii, and so we have the birds and the natural sounds. My friend Bob was nice enough to loan me his space because my location did not have good internet like I was describing. And I didn't want to do that to you guys. I wanted to give you the best experience possible. So here we are outside. Might be a little loud with the birdies and things, but we'll work with it. And I want you to just make this a feel-good practice for yourself. So if it feels good, do it. And if anything is uncomfortable, give yourself a break. You can always just come on up to stand, let your back breathe, adjust the swing as you need. I do like to use these round yoga mats to help define the space. For me, it's incredibly helpful to find the alignment. So I'm going to teach you as if you have one of these lovely AYRx mandala mats that I make. But if you don't, I recommend putting a traditional rectangular mat in the forward direction, and then also put one to the side so we can mark the 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock line, and then the 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock lines if we were using the mat to be a clock. So that's really helpful. So you'll make a plus sign with your mats if you have to. If not, don't worry about it. You can always go off the sides. But what's really great about the round mats is we're going to be moving in multidimensional space. So what's beautiful about the swing is it allows us to move into the body in new ways. So I like to call this infinite ways to play. It's part of the quantum playground. And the beauty of that is we get into the spirals and the spins of the body and the joints in a new way. So we're going to work with the two major hubs of the body, the neck and shoulders and the lower back, hips. These are the two hot spots in the body for most people that I know, meaning this is where injury happens, this is where tension lives, and it happens to be the pathway for the nervous system. Like I said, I apologize for any outdoor noises. We're just going to let the street cleaning go by. Luckily, that'll be quick. And if all goes well, we won't have any leaf blowers today. That's the other exciting part about practicing outside. And I did actually want to bring you guys to the beach and practice at the beach, which is one of my favorite things to do. But of course, the internet is not great there, and then we have all kinds of interruptions and that kind of thing. So here we are, making the most of my time in Hawaii and still wanting to share something with you. So again, just going over the ergonomics of the body, I want us to focus on the spine today. So we're going to really connect with our tailbone all the way up to the crown of the head, and think of this as our pillar or central axis. We're going to use the swing and gravity to stretch the body, which means I'm going to encourage you to really relax into the poses, but still stay engaged. So engage, but relax. That's really the magic, and that's when the sweet spot happens, where you get as much length and space as possible, and at the same time strengthening and creating more alignment in the spine and in the joints. So let's go ahead and go over the equipment for those that are new. For those that are seasoned practicers with me, seasoned players, I will always give you something new, a new twist on things, literally and figuratively. And then I'm really just sharing with you my flow and what I do, which is so different than a teacher training. The teacher training will follow the manual pretty specifically and prepare you to be able to offer classes and teach to other people, whether that's online or in person. What I'm doing with this virtual training is I'm wanting to make it for everyone and give you something that you can really enjoy and take home with you, since you're already home, and create a practice for yourself that you'll do every day, as well as getting to know your body and educating more people on why is this practice so important for the health of the body, for the neck, for the lower back, for all the joints, and how can we use the swing to improve our overall health, mental health, emotional health, physical health, all the layers and levels of ourselves. We're gonna let the street sweeper go by one last time. It's only two sides of the street, luckily. And then let's talk about the equipment. So we have handholds. I usually have the handholds attached directly to the swing if you have one of my new swings. If you're really small, you can put the handholds onto the webbing, but putting it directly on the carabiner is ideal. So when you reach up, you don't want it to be too high where you're on your tippy toes, but you don't want it to be so low that when you do a sumo squat, your butt is almost touching the ground, right? So typically what I do to hang the swing is I reach up on my tippy toes and hang the carabiner wherever it's a natural fit. So all the swings are made based in sacred geometry using golden ratios and Fibonacci sequences. So the mathematics is going to fit everybody, no matter how tall or how small you are. If you reach up, hook the carabiner where the highest point that you can reach without really stretching or straining, then that is perfect for your body. You can always bring it up and down. Everybody's a little bit different, right? So we have these daisy chains that come with the full swing set where you can adjust. It's like a ladder where you can adjust the carabiners. And then the swing is going to be right at chest level when it is loose, okay, because they're super stretchy. So that means every time that you get in, it's going to stretch a little bit more, which means you might need to bring it up more. When you have a brand new swing, you might need to bring it down until it kind of stretches out. It's like a sweatshirt where it's made with spandex and cotton, and that combination gives it a nice soft feeling against the skin, as well as a good amount of stretch and give. So it's working with the fascia. I do a lot of work with the neuromuscular points in my fascia in the swing. So you'll get a free massage too. And then the leg loops are typically 3 notches down from where we hang the swing. It's usually in alignment with the nub. The nub is where the webbing meets the fabric. You can always bring these up and down depending on the tightness of your legs as well. Lower is easier, higher would be harder. Just something to keep in mind. So let's go ahead and get centered and get into the swing now together. And it's always good to review. So even if you've been practicing for a while, master the basics. Add something new in your own practice every time, which means challenge yourself with your own creativity and play to take it to another level. Use the swing in a new way every time. And that, for me, since I've been doing this for a decade or so, I love that challenge. And that's why I'm offering this virtual training to you, so that I can challenge myself to take it to another level, which means I'm going to incorporate some meditation in my transmissions, which are kind of my newest offering that I'm doing when we get into cocoon, which is so great. We're going to do more free flow, freestyle. We're going to do restorative, what I call the feel good practice. So we're going to get into some of the therapeutics and how I use the swing to heal the body. And of course, I'm going to give you some tricks and some flips just so it's, an up leveling and taking it to the next level. But it's really not going to be an acrobatics practice. But once we learn the pivot points in the body, once we create effortlessness and ease, then I promise you the flips will come with no effort. That's the idea, is that we're leveraging our power and we're working with our pivot points and our axes. And that way we naturally learn how to move the body in multidimensional space. So instead of efforting through something, I want you to find more ease in your body. See how that goes today. I promise you, you will get stretched, you will get strong, we will find alignment, but can we have as much fun as possible? That's really my goal. Okay, so I like to use the center of the mat as I have a little circle here with the AYRx logo. I'm going to make sure everything's lined up so we can follow the sacred geometrics. Okay, so I stand in the center of my mat, and when I bring my arms up towards the sky, just take a nice big inhale. Remember the breath. Whenever we're learning something new, the breath is the first thing to go. So let's make sure we amplify the breath. And when we exhale, we hug the swing. The arms will wrap around the outside, and it'll feel really tight, right? At first, it's really close up to the armpits. We're going to use our forearms and push this down. Get the swing nice and low. It's touching the lower ribs. And then from there, I'm just going to lean back from the center of the mat for today. We don't normally start like this, but we're going to work a lot with the center of the mat. And the first thing I want to do is I just want to get in tune with the hips exploring in the space. So I'm moving from 9 to 3 on my mat, side to side. And the swing is going to slide up right behind the sternum, right? So below the tips of the shoulder blades is a good marker. And always support your head with your hands. I'm on a nice long diagonal, and so my feet are pressing down, even my toes strongly. I'm going to walk my feet a little bit wider so they're hip distance. If that feels good, that gives a little bit more swag, a little bit more play. I will introduce the names of the poses, but I'm also not really concerned about all that in this practice. I really just want to give you more of an experience, and let us explore the swing together. Okay, so from here, this is our weeping willow, elbows wide, pulling up and out through the back of the neck. My hands, my palms are cupping the occipital ridge where the spine meets the skull. And from there, you can lengthen the neck. Just feels amazing to use your hands to do a little yoga massage while you're here. And from here, I'm going to step my feet wide, closer to 9 and 3. I'm still in the center of the mat. And I'm going to bend one knee at a time and have a little bit more swag in the upper body. Just letting the shoulders flow in the wind. And I'm really hoping that you guys can hear me okay, that the lighting is good. Feel free to put something in the comments. I will pop up every once in a while and just check. When we do the virtual training, I'm also going to have a Zoom happening simultaneously. So those that want to interact can be asking questions and making comments and requests. And those that just want to practice can stay on the live stream, and they don't have to get so involved with the Zoom calls. Some people like Zoom and to be seen, and other people just want to be anonymous and have their privacy. And I honor and respect both practices. Okay, so we're going to bring our arms to center, nice long spine, stretch, 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 and then exhale, bend the knees wide, sumo. When I come into sumo, I'm going to let my tailbone drop to the center of the mat. It's always a good idea to push your forearms into the swing in a diamond shape, so not covering your eyes. Lift your arms, hands above your head, and then when you press in, it's going to lift the chest. Now, the tendency here is to push the hips forward, and that will lock the pelvis. We want to relax the pelvis, deepen in the hip flexors, push your knees out, even if it's tight. Turn your toes just a little bit, more like 45 degrees than straight forward. And then just let your tailbone explore in the space. We're really opening up the whole connective tissue for the iliac crest. I'm going to give you lots of names of the body. If you don't naturally know what they are, just kind of feel where it's stretching for you and be like, oh, that must be my iliac crest. And so we're going to get into the quadratus, the psoas, hip flexors, glutes, all of these muscles and connective tissue that control the alignment and the positioning of the pelvis. 90% of the people that I work with have lower back or neck pain pretty chronically. And I really personally created the swing because of my own journey of releasing lower back pain and working through my own process of healing the body. And I want to share that with you. It's really important to me that we're using this swing not only to get strong and get flexible, but we're using it to really heal the body and create as much space as possible, as well as enjoying practicing, So it's a new kind of fun functional fitness where exercise can actually be enjoyable. That's my goal. Okay, so we've been hanging out in sumo for a while, and for those that are new, to adjust, you're gonna press your legs straight, lean back. You can even give it a little hop. Make sure the swing is staying below the tips of the shoulder blades, right behind the sternum, right in the center of the thoracic. And remember to breathe. Just take a moment to flow here. So we're gonna, I call it belly dancing moves, where we're just gonna shift our hips a little from side to side and push them out to the side in a twist. Lots of twists today. We're gonna do some grounding poses, some standing poses, some inversions and forward folds, and then we'll see how it goes. I wanna give you guys, this first part is gonna be about an hour and a half, like 10 to 11:30, and then I'll offer a meditation, cocooning, restorative chance to drop in. It's also a good time to take a break from 11:30 to 12. And then, and then what we'll do is at noon, we'll come back and we'll do a part 2. So you're gonna have to get the second link for the live stream. If you just go to my YouTube channel, it should be right there. You should be able to click on that live stream and join us again just for this free offering today. My good dear friend Bob, who's one of my certified teachers, like I mentioned, he's letting us use his beautiful outdoor space, and he just popped in to join us, and it's perfect timing, Bob. We're just getting warmed up here. Yeah, so what we want to do is just give ourselves plenty of time to play, explore, and flow. So in our sumo, we're just going to roll our hips around, really get the pelvis to loosen up. Like I said, this is not my normal training. This is for everyone. It's not for certification. And it's more just giving you an opportunity to experience how I use the swing. Less structure and more flow and play. And see if you can get into those little nooks and crannies. Something new. Right now, I'm really feeling my hip flexor. And if I drop my knee in slightly, I'm going to get a stretch down the outside of the IT band too. Make sure the knees are happy and safe. Don't go too far. These tiny little micro movements is what opens everything up. And then I'm going to press straight back, give my upper body a break, give it a little hop to get it a little lower if you need. Come back into chillaxing arms, interlacing the fingers behind the back of the head, feet nice and wide at 10 and 2, and then really add a twist and play at the edges here. That's where we're going to deepen the stretch. Right, so I'm pressing out to the side, and then I'm actually bringing my elbow up towards the sky even more. So out to the side and then twist up. Don't worry about the leg loops. They might bop a little further at the sides at the 9 and 3 marks. Yay. Nice deep breaths. Take your toe with a forearm press. Now, if you don't do the forearm press, you will definitely slide up. The swing will slide up to your armpits, and that's no bueno. That doesn't feel great. It's going to pinch the nerves underneath there. If it feels pinchy, like I said, if it doesn't feel good, I want you to adjust. So go ahead and give it a little hop. You're creating a great hook. I'm going to teach you guys the hooks. You can get uncomfortable pretty fast. Give yourself frequent breaks if at any time you feel done with one of these poses and you're just ready to move on. Feel free to pause at any time too. Take a breath and come back into it. This is what we're going to do a lot today. We're just doing a lot of swag, a lot of twists, a lot of turns, and we're just giving ourselves time to really drop in. So no rush. We're on Hawaii time here, wherever you are. Just slow it down, find the breath, get into the body. Just enjoy the experience of playing with the swing even more. And now what we're going to do is heel toe to 12 o'clock, right? And so in this practice, I like to flex my toes back, still pressing in strongly with my forearms, and I'm just letting my hips sway from side to side. So my toes are like little windshield wipers, right? Feet at the front of the mat, and I'm just sliding in, twisting from side to side. All of these spiral dynamics wind up wringing out the spine and resetting the vertebrae. It's so, so good to get more twists And don't go too far if it's uncomfortable. That just means one of the vertebrae or discs is getting pinched or feeling stuck. And the more space that we create in the body, we're going to start to release that. So we don't want to force. We just want to play with it. These little shimmies and wiggles, micro movements are going to make all the difference. Beautiful. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of a different twist. I'm going to bend my knees like I'm sitting in a chair. Okay, I'm going to take my right foot and I'm going to bring it all the way underneath, like I'm moving it towards my 9 and 3 mark. And then from there, I'm going to wiggle my left foot over towards 10 o'clock, maybe even 9:30. Again, strong arms here because now you really can get into the habit of dropping in, but the upper body's engaged, lower body relaxed. Flexing that right foot to protect the knee, and I'm going to drop my hips down and then add a twist. Ooh la la. Come on back, dropping the left knee towards 12 o'clock. That's amazing. And then I'm going to drop my right knee to the center of the mat and twist to the side like I'm doing a lunge. I'm on the 9-3 axes, and I'm using my upper body, looking towards you, and then I'm going to twist towards the right and look over my left knee. Inhale and come back to center. Take a pause. Exhale, twist and wring out the spine. Squeeze the belly. Squeeze all the air out. And then inhale, fill yourself back up. Come on back to center. Okay, so we're just going to wiggle our way out of this any way that feels good, feeling safe on the joints. Give it a little hop. Come on back to Weeping Willow. Feet at 12 o'clock. Interlacing the fingers, reset. You're going to feel a huge difference in that right side through the iliac crest and hip flexor. It's super tense for the obliques into the piriformis. Like I said, I'm going to give you lots of body parts and therapeutics. If that doesn't resonate for you, just move along and notice which part of the body, even if you don't know the name, where you're feeling it the most. We can get into the anatomy another time. It's more, I want you to enjoy and experience it. Nice deep breaths. Weeping Willow, letting the upper body fly in the wind, just swaying, enjoying the breeze. Wherever you are, take in the sounds of Hawaii. Enjoy the birds and the trees. Inspire you to go outside. I love hanging the swings outside in trees. It's one of my favorite things to interface with nature. All right, come on back to center. Inhale, open the arms wide. Exhale, forearm press. Flex the toes back first, right? We're going to repeat a lot of sequences so we can really go deeper with each round. See if you can do something a little bit different. Give yourself plenty of time to freestyle, explore, and play. My hips are particularly tight right now, so we're going to do a lot of hips today. But where does your body need it? Maybe it's the upper back, and you can press the back of the heart into the swing and lift up and get a little massage through that. Whatever it is. Support the neck if you support with the neck. Otherwise, use your forearms nice and strong, pressing into the swing to keep the chest lifted. Okay, let's go ahead and place our feet back down, 12 o'clock, like we're sitting in a chair. And we're going to pick up our left knee, shoot it underneath us to the 9 and 3 axes. Okay, we're getting into the IT band here. And then wiggle your right foot over towards 3 o'clock, maybe about 2:30. It's not going to go all the way to 3. I'm going to flex my left toes back to keep that knee safe. Nice long line of energy. And then, oh my goodness, maybe you're not going very far in this pose because it's so intense. And that's totally fine. Again, these are some basic swing practices with some advanced twists added. So this is not the normal beginner's practice, but anyone can do it. You just might not go as far, which means maybe your foot doesn't walk all the way to 2 o'clock. Maybe it goes from 12 to 1. And then you can just do this little wiggle. Lots of wiggling today, the official scientific term. And then I'm going to drop my knee back towards 12 there. If it's you're in the right place. These twists are so Incredible. And then what we're going to do is we're going to drop our back knee. Okay, so left knee comes down. I'm going to be walking my feet over towards the 9 and 3 axes, distance apart. So I'm not on a tightrope. I'm going to keep my knees square with my hips. And then I'm going to twist my upper body nice and strong towards the right and then back to center. Inhale, fill yourself up with the chest. Exhale, twist, bringing out the spine. Really good. Twist, twist, twist. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, twist. That's it. Feel your hip flexors. If you want to go deeper, push your hips forward. Oh yeah, that really opens up the psoas. All right, unfurl, unwind. Your arms might have fallen asleep there if that was too long. Give it a little hop, adjust it. Swing is always going to ride up. Gravity's doing a really good job. So always give yourself an opportunity to adjust if it feels uncomfortable. You get used to all this pressure in time, and it's going to feel amazing when we take a break. So it'll fluff back up. All that connective tissue and fascia is getting stretched and worked, and releasing that stickiness and build up of tension. Swag it out. Swing the hips from side to side. Have some fun with it. Again, do loop-de-loops, figure eights, twists and twirls. Just really give yourself an opportunity to freestyle today, even more than normal. This is how I get in the swing and play every day. Using the basics of our practice, something familiar like Weeping Willow, and then adding something new. After doing this for so long, I'm always challenging myself to get creative. What else can I do? What else can I explore? Maybe you come through, I used to do this around the world movement, where you come back through your seat and then push all the way around. So it's like you're tracing the full shape of the mat, smoothing it out, seeing how that feels. If you're smiling and having fun, you're in the right place. Oh, now we're going to give the upper back a break. So hold on to the swing, make sure your bum is good. And stand in the center of the mat again. What I want you to do is, oh my God, it feels so different. So just give it a little whirl. Give your shoulders and arms a little movement. Just see how different that is. Same with the hips. So sometimes getting out of the swing is the best way to realize how much has shifted and changed. Maybe you feel longer and taller. Maybe you feel a little bit more lightness and space in the body. Maybe you feel longer. But just notice. We want to take inventory as we're practicing, and that time to retrain and recalibrate, right? So we're reprogramming and rewiring the body every time we get into the swing, and we want to hold on to this new feeling, or the alignment we've gained. Maybe it's even more relaxation in the nervous system, whatever it is. Just take a little time to notice. And then we're going to come into some grounding, standing practices. This is part of the full body hang that I normally do. And I'm going to use my hand holds. So if you hold on and just do a finger grip with your hand holds, that's fine, but the hands get tired really fast. So what I like to do is wrap my wrist around it. So I call it a wrist wrap. So it's going to be on the top of the wrist, and then I grab tight. So you're not going to have it loose. You're really going to let it be as tight as possible. And this is amazing for tractioning the wrists. I do a lot of work with the wrist wraps for carpal tunnel, for people who are on the computer a lot, just giving the wrists a break. Okay, so we're going to do both hands to begin. You just notice if one wrist is different than the other. Notice if one side of the body is different than the other, the shoulders. Just notice. We're going to support our weight with our feet. So if it's too much on the shoulder joints to begin to do a full body hang, keep your legs straight. The more you bend your knees, the more weight you're supporting with your arms. So from our sumo, we're about 9 and 3. Toes pointing forward to a 45-degree angle, and we're just letting our hips sway into space. So we're going to twist and turn and play, working with the ends and the edges of the body. So just give yourself that extra time, maybe lifting the toes, playing with turning the knee in and out, playing with tilting the head and stretching the neck. We're staying in these poses a little bit longer than normal, so you can have that extra boost of playtime today. So give yourself a chance to freestyle. You can flow, you can follow me, you can do whatever feels good. This is the beauty of practicing at home. This will be recorded. You can enjoy the replay of this. It'll be available on my YouTube channel, and I usually repost things on Facebook. And when we do the virtual training, that's going to be for purchase. You're going to sign up for that, and then it's going to be an exclusive playlist that you will get included as part of the weekend. So I might not have mentioned it, but it's on my website and all of the social media platforms. The virtual weekend training got moved to February 12th to the 14th. And I hope that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you can make it. Today, just enjoy a preview and an overview of what we're going to do and what you will experience in that day. And even if you can only make it for a couple hours, don't worry about trying to do the whole thing for the whole weekend. That can get really overwhelming for people. Just give yourself a chance to practice when you can, and then watch the replay videos over and over again. You'll have unlimited access to that playlist after the weekend. So don't have to do it all. Sometimes that much swinging can be really intimidating, especially if you're new. So just do what you want, do what you can. There's also the option of just doing the workshops, which will be Saturday and Sunday from 4 to 6 Pacific Standard Time. So if you don't want to do the whole training, each day the workshops will be kind of like a summary of what we learned that day in the 12 to 4 training period. Okay, give the hands a break. Chatting in between here, shake it out. Well, you do this for as long as your hands are happy. And it's kind of like rock climbing. You'll get used to it and build up more strength and more capacity to hang longer. But take a break whenever your hands are like, okay, we're done. That's how you know. And typically I'll do that way longer than people are comfortable with. So just stand up and pause whenever you need. All right, let's try that again one at a time. We're going to come into a triangle pose. Let's go ahead and pick the right arm to begin. And do a little wrist wrap, make it nice and tight. I'm going to turn my left toes out into a triangle pose. I'm right on the 9-3 axis still. And what I want to do is I want to start getting into the upper body more. We worked the hips pretty well there. And I'm just going to play with dropping my ear to shoulder. Okay? You can turn and look down towards the ground, or you can try looking up towards the sky and doing that. Maybe I just got a nice adjustment. You'll hear some crackling or creaking. And if you get a little pop, that's wonderful. If anything hurts, of course, take a pause and stop and adjust. As long as you feel good, you're in the right place. See what it's like to widen your stance even more. Sometimes that'll change things. And then I'm kinking my hips out to the side. I'm pushing my right hip to that 9-3 axis. Okay, go ahead and shake out your left hand. Shake, 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 shake. And then if you want to go a little bit deeper, if you're done, take a break, but you can come into a side plank from here. Dropping the hips, lifting the hips, teeing the arms. And then if you want, you can even twist your hips up towards the sky and arch. Beautiful. All right, let's release, come back to center, wide stance, second side. We're gonna go over both sides again and again, and just feel where it's tight in the body. Give yourself a little massage in between if something is feeling sticky or stuck. And let's try the other side. Just FYI, if for any reason the internet has been cutting out, send me a message. I'll check it on the next break. But I also have a recorded backup copy. So the replay should be good quality no matter what's happening with the live stream. But I'm hopeful that we're getting lucky today. We get enough of a signal here in Hawaii to have a clean live stream for you. Okay, so triangle pose. We're going to go ahead and turn the right toes out to the side. Drop the ear to shoulder. This is the stretch. So long line of energy through your left arm all the way in to your right fingertips. So I'm teeing the arms, I'm pushing my hip out to the side, deepening in the hip flexor. So not the waist, but more like straight spine, kinking the hips out. And then look up towards the sky as you have your ear drop to shoulder, and then look down. And play with that, really gentle and slow, as long as your neck is happy. If you have a little pinch or something in your neck, I'd say support your head with your hands so there's not nearly as much weight, and stretch it out. I'm giving my occipital ridge a little pull so that I'm not crunching or compressing the spine. But I usually get a nice crack and pop here. This is a tight line on every human I've ever met. I haven't met a person with a loose neck yet, but we carry a lot of tension and stress in the neck and shoulders here. So we're really getting into that intersection of the spine and shoulders meet. The C7 joint is a really, really important hub for the nervous system. So we're also getting a nice nerve stretch down the arm as well as through the neck and shoulders. And let's play with the hips. Give it a little twist. Adding a twist in all the poses today. Pushing the hips forward, letting the glutes sink back, just exploring, seeing how that feels nice and safe. Stepping to side plank. It's a little bit intense. You can feel, I can feel my hand being like, I'm done. And then try just for another couple breaths. Lifting the hips, dropping the hips, remembering to breathe. And then if you want, you can turn the hips more towards the sky, letting your upper body arch, opening the chest. Alrighty, release. Wide stance. We're going to go back to that first side, but just give the hands, just give the hands a chance to breathe. It is amazing for tractioning the wrists, but you also get a lot of hand strength during this. So whatever pause you need, feel your neck and shoulders while we're here. We're going to get into all this neck stuff again. We're going to work a lot with the neck today. Mainly because that's what my body needs.
Same here.
Yeah, whatever my body needs is what we're doing. No, but it tends to be universal. These are the popular spots, so it just feels so good to dig in here. So we're going to do a lot of work with the swing and fascia. Like I said, this is a blend of AerialYogaPlay, which is the poses, with the AYRx therapeutics, which is the body parts, and really marrying those two so we can really get as much joy and happiness back in the body. Okay, wide stance. We're going to reach up with our right hand, wrist wrap one more time. I know it's intense. Just do it for about half as much time as we did before, and just pause whenever you need. You can also just come up and give the hand a little shake and come back in. But yeah, listen to the body. If it says it's done, it's done. We don't want to push past those signals that are like, yeah, I've had enough of that. I also, you probably notice, I'm not giving all the cues since I'm chatting away, but I like to lift my toes here, right? Wide stance, lift the toes. Notice what happens to the back of the leg when we do that. It just changes things. It's almost like my toes are trying to find my fingertips. Tee the arms, roll the head around. Ear to shoulder is the most important cue. This is what's going to get into the next stretch. Right now we're focusing on the right side. Amazing stretch through the arm, through the shoulder. And I'm actually working and engaging the legs too. If you're really fancy, you can pick that up and grab the toes. But like, we're not showing off or anything today. That's just if you're going to do some tricks. It feels really amazing, but you're going to be working your quad then. And it goes from therapeutics into dynamic, and we lose the attention on the deep stretch. So play with that if you want. If you're fancy and more advanced, I encourage you, you can even come into a tree pose and do some things like that. The challenge is really awesome if it makes you happy. If it overwhelms the practice, it's too much, and just keep it simple, especially for today. Rolling the head around, playing with the hips. This is pretty much what I do at home. I just kind of get in the swing and roll around. And the teacher training is really great, but this virtual training is much more about feeling good and flow, as I've mentioned. All right, side plank, push the hips up. Oh my God. Drop the hips deeper. Try to keep the ear to shoulder if you can. That's going to be a really intense stretch, but just wiggle around, see what feels good. Open it up, getting into the intercostals. And then last one, I can actually bring my toes pointing to the 9-3 axis, and then that allows me to lift up. I think it's called Viparita, if we were going to do it in yoga. Anyhow. Okay, release, come on back, shake it out. Ah. Nice sacred pause to reset, finding the axes, the spine, the alignment, our pillar, and then we're ready. Second side, last side. Hopefully, fortunately, wrist wrap, grab, feet nice and wide, triangle pose, right toes point out to the side. And I like this one. You can try these little tiny adjustments or variations where I pull my toes up towards my fingertips. It just kind of happens naturally that I'll start to pulse and play with the legs in the space too. But most important is the ear to shoulder. That is going to get deep into the scalenes here, the sides of the neck. Stretching the arm. I turn my thumb up towards the sky. I do a lot of rotation in the shoulder joint as well, especially if there's any sort of shoulder injury going on. That's incredibly helpful. See if you can make that adjustment. It's opening up the shoulder girdle that way. And then just see if you can roll the head around at the same time. If that's too much information, just do one part. Just drop the head and pay attention to the neck. If you can do these tiny little adjustments with the shoulders and the legs simultaneously. Like I said, some of my more experienced teachers and students might enjoy the extra challenge. And if you're a beginner, just keep it nice and easy, simple and slow, and let yourself enjoy the practice. Okay, I'm playing with my hips here, just rolling around in the space, letting it feel good. Last one, side plank. My hand's getting tired, so I know yours is too. Take a break whenever you need. But if you're ready to push the hips up and drop the hips for a couple breaths, do that before finishing up this side. Oh my God. For some reason, when I push my hips up, I'm getting a really intense stretch. Maybe it's different for you. Maybe when you drop your hips. Everybody is a little different. And then I'm going to come into Viparita and open my chest towards the sky. Big arch. Come on out. Oh, okay. Shake it out. Take a little sip of water. Give yourself a little break. And then we're going to come back into our seated postures. Give yourself an opportunity to take frequent breaks whenever you need. Okay, where are we with the time too? Cool. Okay, we're halfway there. It's 10:45 and we're going to go to 11:30. Let's get back into the upper back. We're going to utilize the swing and start to stretch the legs. And then we'll move into some more neck stretches. So we'll just be going back and forth in the practice between these two hugs. All right, from the center of the mat, let's go ahead and inhale, arms up towards the sky. Exhale, wrap the arms around, giving the swing a hug. So the arms are now behind the swing. I use the forearms to press it down. Press, press, press. It helps me position the swing right at the lower ribs. So when I lean back, it's going to naturally slide up towards right underneath the shoulder blades. It's always going to slide up. Let's go right into our forearm press and slide our feet to 12 o'clock. Pick up the toes, flex the feet back, and again, with straight legs, wiggle it out. Take some time here to feel into the body. Sometimes it's even good to close your eyes. I know it's hard with the video to drop in to yourself and your own practice, but just give yourself that time, and then you can come back in and join us whenever you're ready. So if you feel something, explore that, you know, take the time to pause and get into it. And then what we're going to do is bring our feet back down, wiggle them out to 9 and 3. We always go, sumo is kind of our access and our go-to pose for all the other practices. And it's going to be intense behind the back again, but let's just use that opportunity to dig into the paraspinals and all of that tension that lives in the upper thoracic. We're going to start to release that. Let's go ahead and roll our neck around here, roll your hips around. Just give yourself a chance to explore the space around you. Adding these little twists and turns will change everything. And I'll talk more about the spiral dynamics in the virtual training, and I'll also get into the sacred geometrics of the body. Those are kind of more of the next level practices that I've been doing for quite a while. And then I will be adding more of the meditations and transmissions that I've been working on, especially in the swing. They're incredible for shifting the mind-body connection. From our sumo, again, give it a little hop whenever you need. Adjust the swing. Adjust the swing often. You can't adjust too much if it's uncomfortable. Lean back. Give yourself frequent breaks. We're going to do one leg at a time. So let's go ahead and start with the right hand in the leg loop. And the first thing I want to do is just do a little bit of core strengthening so we feel comfortable picking up our leg. If you have any sort of injury, if you've been recovering from some sort of surgery, that kind of thing, don't worry about all this strengthening right now. Just take it easy. But I do want us to be able to pick up our legs so we can get the leg loops on. So I'm going to hold on with one hand if that's more comfortable. For more advanced folks, hold on with both hands, which means you're going to get a really deep squeeze on the arms. So one hand if you're more beginner, two hands if you're more advanced. Drop the right knee to the center of the mat, and then we're going to pick up the knee. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. We're pulling down strongly with straight arms, and then lower back down. We'll do 5 of these. If you're newer, I want you to just pick your knee up towards your chest and come on straight back down. Arm out to the side. Okay? So you're going to get all the parts and pieces of the stomach muscles working together on just one side at a time. Sometimes you can put your hand on your belly and really feel those muscles working as well as your hip flexor, or go ahead and try both hands. Just notice that it intensifies the situation quite a bit. Whichever version makes you happy, do that for today. Don't worry so much, like I said, about the strengthening. Just get into picking up the leg, getting all the muscles to work together. Okay, so on the last one, we're going to karate chop the foot out there. It really helps to bring the knee out to the side. Okay, and now we're going to explore in the space. I like to call this wagging the tail, where the tail is actually the foot. So see if you can just enjoy using your forearm press, dropping your hips. This is the cue. Most people will push their hips forward, drop it even more, which means you're deepening in your hip flexor on that left side. And then you can even straighten both legs and lean back, especially if the swing is bugging you. And we're going to give ourselves lots of free time, right? Lots of playtime, free flow. So take, let's just say 30 seconds here to wiggle the hips around, bend the knee out, bend the knee in, just go tiny little micro movements, not too far, and see how that feels. So we're gonna work with the joints, rotating the femur in the hip socket and seeing how that feels. Let's all try that together. I'm gonna keep my left foot over here close to the 10 and 2 mark. And then I'm going to keep my other leg straight. And then I'm going to let my toes act like little windshield wipers. Okay? Keep pushing the left knee out. It tends to collapse in if we don't pay attention to it. So as wide, like call it making a wish, right? Like a little wishbone. Keep your knees as wide apart as possible to get the stretch and drop the hips. Kind of challenging. Even that in itself is a huge opening. You feel that? I can feel you back there. You're like, okay, open up. So even this, we can even do like a little thigh master movement, right? All right. Suzanne Summer Let's give her a little shout out. So just even this position of dropping the knee in and then lifting the knee back up and pushing it out, that can be enough of a stretch and a movement here to be therapeutic for the hips. So play with it, enjoy it. If it's really tight, don't go too far. It's all good. It'll get there. And then let's go back to rotating the right leg where the femur is rotating in the socket. So I'm externally rotating my toes. I'm just using my hand. You don't have to do this with your hand at home. And then I'm internally rotating my toes. Foot flex back if you can. Okay, so instead of kinking out at the waist, I want you to keep your torso long and straight and letting the mobility happen directly in the hip joint. The other thing I do with my hand that I encourage is I will rotate the fascia and skin. So I'm externally rotating the leg, turning it back, and then I'm going to internally rotate the leg and I'm going to push my quad forward. I'm pushing down and forward pretty strongly. See how that feels. Sometimes I'll rest my head on the swing because that's nice. Again, just make it easy breezy when we're getting into some of these intense places in the body. Externally rotate. Use your right hand to assist if it feels good with a little yoga massage action. I do a lot of yoga massage with my clients in the swing to help create more openness and ease in some of these poses. All right, let's hang out here in the internal rotation. You probably noticed that this is the direction that it's harder for everyone, not just you. A little peace of mind there. And try externally rotating. And when we're here in the external rotation, we're bending the knee now. So we're coming into a version of pigeon, a floating pigeon, if you will. Okay, so then play with kinking the hips out to the side, pushing the hips over to the left, and then dropping the hips straight down again, flexing the toes, pulling the knee back, okay, and just playing with the position of the hips. And that'll change things quite a bit. So we don't have to do a lot of poses to get an opening. You can also grab for the outer edge of the foot and pull that, pulling the foot towards your chest and pushing the knee down towards the ground. It's more the variations in the poses and hanging out them with these small adjustments that can create big opening. Okay, go ahead and straighten that leg out. Straighten both legs. Give it a little hop. Let's go ahead and come into our relaxing arms. And even here, we're doing a version of Leaping Willow where we're just swaying around and playing in the space. Kind of loosen it up a little since this is pretty intense. Getting into the hips is always a very deep, sensational experience. So frequent breaks makes all the difference. And right now, when I roll forward, I can feel the quad stretch happening on the left, which is amazing. So again, just playing in the space, you'll feel something new. You're like, oh, I never experienced that before. Hello, quad. All right, now we're going to play with the internal rotation of the leg again. So flexing the toes back, helping the quad with the hand, pushing it down and forward, making sure the knee is happy. You can keep the knee bent just slightly if you need. Your knees are happy. Keep the legs straight. See how that feels. And then we're going to go back one more time. Externally rotate, bend the knee a lot. We're going to reach around. We always keep this hook, right? Reach around, grab for the leg loop as high as you can. And then we're going to keep the foot flexed, roll the knee in, knee stays bent, and all the way over to the quad stretch. The quads, we're calling for a little love here. I'm walking my toes over, so I'm on the 9-3 axes. I'm going to stay in alignment, and then I'm going to hold on to the swing and the leg loop. Don't let go of these anchor points. We want an anchor to keep the hips straight and the knees safe. So I'm more squaring my hips in level with my knees instead of on a tightrope. So just make sure that you have enough room for your hips to square over to the left. And then I'm going to do this little pulsing movement. Again, I'm going to play with the twisting and rotating of my hips. The more that I square my hips to the left, the deeper the stretch in my quad. Keep holding on, thumbs up. Tiny little bicep curls. So you're strengthening the upper body as well as getting this deep stretch through the quad. If it's really intense, you can actually come all the way up to stand and give yourself a little break and then slide back in. So I like to pulse with the breath. Inhaling up. Such a beautiful breeze happening right now. Exhaling back down. Really hang out here and spread out. So the knees are going to stay on the 9-3 axes, and then you're trying to lengthen to the shape of the mat, right? So lengthening out. Ooh, that's such a good stretch. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Try going a little bit deeper each time. Inhale, lift a little bit more. Exhale, drop in. We're going to do 10 of these. Typically we do 5, but we're going to stay a little bit longer in some of these sequences and have some fun with it. It's kind of like a seesaw coming up and down. Maybe straighten the front leg. You can straighten the back leg. Don't worry about that. If you're more beginner level, we have to give our seasoned players something to do, some fun to have. Come into splits. And then pull yourself up, release that back foot. You just turn your toes towards the sky, and if all goes well, that'll come off. There you go. Bob gets the demo, all the different variations for us, and be like, just kick it off. All right, just take a moment to reset. That was your leg. See if you can start to feel the spirals. So is when the energy flows, the inner thighs sink back, and we're kind of slightly pigeon-toeing our feet. That's an inner spiral. An outer spiral is where we push our hips forward and splay our hips out, turning our toes out to the side like duck feet, right? So inner spiral tends to be a little tighter. Outer spiral tends to be a little bit more open for people, but we want to keep those even in the body. So that's what we were doing. When we stretched the quad, we were getting into an inner spiral. When we turned our knee out for the floating pigeon, we're getting into the outer. So even here, if you bend your knee, come up onto your toes and twist in and out, you can start to feel the difference between the two sides. Usually outer spiral is more common, that stance. Inner spiral is where the tightness is living, and that'll spread the sacrum and release the lower back. So inner spiraling the legs is actually super important for releasing lower back pain. Let's come back to the center of the mat. Take a pause. Inhale, arms up towards the sky. Exhale, wrap the arms around the swing. Forearm press, moving a little bit more quickly through the alignment. Swing goes low, across the hips, across the lower ribs, and then forearm press sliding in. Play with sliding to the front of the mat. Wiggle the toes from side to side, flexing the toes back. Straight legs, opening up the hips. Taking a moment to explore in the space. Pressing the pelvis from side to side. Wow, feels so good. Make sure the swing stays below the bottom tips of the shoulder blades. And if you need to adjust, you can either lean back or give it a little hop. Okay, if it bunches up on you, it's not going to be super comfortable. So make sure you spread it out just a little bit. Mine just got bunched up, so it's always a good reminder. If it doesn't feel good on the back, make an adjustment. You can spread it out a little bit. It usually bunches up again. But yeah, it's a little bit of a relationship get to play with. All right, back to sumo. So 12 o'clock with the feet, and then heel toe wide to 10 and 2. So even when I'm heel toeing wide like that, I'm doing my internal and external spirals. So even something as simple like that is adjusting the feet. So if my feet are wide and I pull my knees together, that's internal spiral. You'll probably feel it. I do. I don't know if this part of the body ever loosens up completely. It's very sensational. External, roll into the outer edges of the feet, right? So just even this is enough to start to open the hips. You don't even have to incorporate the leg loops, but that, well, it makes it more fun and intensifies the stretch. All right, from sumo, each time we come in, see what has changed, what has stayed the same, Wiggle the hips around. Play with dropping the knees. Forearm press to support the upper body. Hips heavy. Heart lifted. Crown of the head aligned with the tailbone. So pulling up through the spine while dropping the hips, seeking the sit bones down. Okay, first we're going to do our core exercises. Our left hand is going to reach for the leg loop. If you want to do the more intense advanced version, both hands grab, but just try the easier version for today and just see if you can pick the knee up. So we're working with the left knee. Exhale, drop to the knee to the center of the mat. So it's not going to touch down, it's just going to go in that direction. Inhale, pick up. Feel your core working. Knee all the way up to the chest if possible. Slow is and controlled is actually more challenging. Inhale, lift. Squeeze. Exhale, come down. Let's change the breath, okay? So let's see what happens when we inhale here and then exhale, squeeze. They're two different experiences. I like both, but it's always good to mix it up and notice the difference. Inhale, lower down, and exhale, lift. Since I taught it this way before, I'll try it that way. One last time. Inhale, lengthen. I'm still not touching down, or you can just relax in between, but if you stay lifted, you keep everything engaged. Exhale, squeeze, 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 and then get the foot in there. So you have to kind of karate chop it up. Knee out to the side is helpful, and then the leg loop will find the ankle. Let's first take a moment to play and explore in the space. Straight legs or bent knees. Let's just have a full minute of freestyling. See what feels good for today. You can follow along or just give yourself an opportunity to experience the body in a new way. These little pauses help us reset too. So we want to do the stretching and strengthening, but we also want to give ourselves plenty of pauses. Hop and release the back. Adjust the swing as much as needed. Then when you feel ready, take your time. If you found something juicy, stay with that and explore it a little bit more. Just hop back in when you're ready and join me. And for everybody who wants to come into wagging the tail, I'm going to have my right foot at the 10 o'clock, the 10 and 2 mark. It's 10 for me, 2 for you. And then my straight leg, I'm turning the toes out like windshield wipers to the side and then forward. So internally and externally rotating the leg from the femur into the hip socket. Sometimes, like I said, it's really helpful to use the hand to help traction the leg open because the connective tissue and fascia is like a real thing that gets super congested and sticky in these big hubs of the body, major hubs of the hips. So press down and forward to internally rotate, keeping the toes flexed back. It's easy to let the toes just hang off the end there. Toes engaged, and then rotate just slightly. You don't have to go too far. Can you feel that? Just the tiniest little rotation is enough. We don't want to go too far because what we do then is we actually kink at the waist and we don't get the stretch deep down into the hip socket. So we're working with the bones here. See if you can feel the rotation of the femur, the leg bone where it inserts. Externally rotate, I like to bring my foot forward a little bit more for that one. Okay, pushing my quad out, internally rotate. Whew. Soften everywhere that you can. I'm staying engaged through my upper body and through my toes. Everything else I'm softening as much as possible. Yeah, even if it's just the tiniest movement, if that's all that wants to happen today, celebrate that, honor it, be happy with where you're at. Okay, After my next external rotation, knee will bend out to the side, and then we're going to play in the space here. I'm using my left hand to assist. You don't have to, but if I push my knee down, my left knee down, I call this the money pose because it's like the most amazing piriformis stretch of all time, which is kind of the tight band right underneath the iliac crest above the glutes, and extremely hard to stretch. One of my favorites, but very intense. And then we're going to try grabbing for the outside edge of the foot, and we're pulling back. So my toes are actually going to come towards my chest, not so far, as you can see, but my knee is pointing down, and that really gets into a whole nother part of the body. I can feel that in my QL, or the erectors for the spine. Again, sometimes difficult to get into these parts of the body if we don't add the spiral dynamics. We tend to get stuck in our linear movements. So this one really helps us explore more of the multidimensional nature of the body. Whew, let that feel good. And then what we're going to do is turn it in, turn it over. So internally rotate, walk the foot, just wiggle it to the 9-3 mark. Okay, so we're on that axis. Keep holding on to the leg loop, super important. A lot of people let go, and that's unstable for the knee. So I call these the stabilizers. Okay, holding on to the swing with the right hand, dropping the hips. And I'm squaring my hips. The more I square my hips to the side wall here, to the right, it is going to intensify the stretch. We're getting into, keep holding on, but I'm going to just point to different body parts. We're getting into the belly, the psoas, the hip flexor, quad, and my head. I'm going to create a big arch in the spine because my crown of the head, just like a little string pulling straight up, is going to keep my alignment of the spine. So head up towards the sky, lifting the chest, using your hands to hold on, but dropping the hips. Inhale, bicep curl. Exhale, lower and expand. Let that feel good. Inhale, lift. Use the breath. Exhale, lower back down. There you go. Spread out even more. We're getting our knees towards the 9-3 edges of the mat. Inhale, lift. And exhale, really use your arms. We're getting nice and strong through our biceps here. Inhale, lift. You can even stay up if it's too much and be like, okay, I'm good. I'll just watch for the next few. Exhale, lower. So bigger movements now. Big lift. And then lower all the way. Spread out all the way. Inhale, lift, lift, lift. Exhale, lower. Spread it out. All right, last one. We're going to lift, stay standing. Put your toes towards the sky and see if the leg loop will just pop off. If not, just give it a little assistance with your hand. There you go. And we're out. With a little shake. I think we're almost ready for our forward folds. I'm just going to check the time. Yeah, we're going to come into some forward folds. Typically what I'll do next is move into both legs. And then that is called the floating Buddha sequence. But we're going to save that. Maybe we'll do some of that this afternoon. We're going to come into some forward folds. We'll do about another 15, 20 minutes. And then we're going to get you into a nice long cocoon, our restorative practice where we get in the swing, and we'll do some leg stretches from there. Okay, so forward folds, just to mix it up. So now we're going to keep the swing at the front of the body, give the upper body a break after all of that hanging. It kind of digs in to the ribs and whatnot. So we're going to let that breathe. And from this position here, I'm going to get to the center of the mat, standing with the swing in front of me. I come up onto my tippy toes, really strong press straight down. Everybody's body will fit, but you have to get up on your tippy toes, and then you can kind of even float it. But my arms are straight, okay? With the arms straight, the swing is going to hit the top of the legs. So we don't want it on the belly button or the bladder. We want it on the top of the legs, if possible. So standing here, I'm going to be on a nice long diagonal, and then With control, I'm going to try and lock the swing in. You have to kind of use pressure to lock it in. I'm going to come through angel wings and come on down. So I'm not going to touch down. I'm going to come down about 3/4 of the way, and then I'm going to come right back up, pressing into my feet. Yeah, you have to have a strong grip with your toes, pressing into the balls of the feet. Exhale, coming down. You can even swim the arms around a little bit and play with it. Inhale, back up. Thumbs up the whole time. Nice, long, wide wings. Exhaling, come on down. Inhaling, flying back up, enjoying that process. And then exhale, let's come down and stay here. I'm going to clasp my elbows and hang, and I'm going to let my body sway from side to side. So I'm tracing the shape of the mat. So I'm coming into these semicircles, twisting at the edges, right? Our big practice and next level play for today is adding twists to everything. And then what happens when we kind of explore with the arms and add some twists? Just make it up. Just explore and play in the space. If you can't see me while we're in this position, make sure you're not straining your neck. Just try to follow some more of the verbal cues. Unless you're comfortable, you can always turn around and practice too. So I'm just going to show you at home. Sometimes this is a little bit easier, is to just turn around so you can see me while you're upside down. You're good, Bob, for a second. I'm going to come right back to where I was so they don't just get like a butt shot the whole time. Although some might mind, some won't. So you can see me a little bit better if you turn around and you're swinging the forward folds if you want to. Lots of options. Okay, so I'm going to come back in. Let's stay on our forward folds and explore stretching the back from here. So again, standing in the center of the mat, straight arms, pressing forward with the hips. Come on down, nice and slow. And clasp the elbows. Hanging out here. I want to show you how to adjust the swing. If it feels too intense on the hip flexors, which is pretty common, what I want you to do is lift one leg up at a time, shimmy the hip towards the sky, and the swing will slide down. The swing is supposed to be below the hip bone. Lift the other leg, shimmy, twist, and that will open it up, move it around. It might feel better, it might not. Just give it a go and see what you like. But let's go ahead and all play here where we're going to actually twist and reach up towards the sky. I'm lifting my right leg up and I'm twisting. Let's come on back down and play with that for a little bit. Lifting left leg up, twist, arm towards the sky, and hang out here for a breath. I'm massaging the hip flexors with the swing. It's like a deep rolfing session. So if it doesn't feel good, do just a little bit. Don't go as far. But if you like the pressure on the body, really dig in with the swing. So awesome. Okay, great. Come on back down. Sway it out. We're going to come through our happy dog sequence. Okay, so from here, I'm going to press back with my hips, straight arms. And I'm going to let my hips explore in the space. Again, loop-de-loops, figure eights, whatever feels good. Happy dog, wag your tail. Okay, so yeah, just play with it a little bit. Maybe the upper body comes into a little sway. Making a rhythm wave with the spine. Just let that feel good. Some people don't love the pressure on the hips, like I said, so give it a little adjustment or come on out and take frequent breaks. But I want to show you how to get into the forward folds here. So my feet are in the center of the mat, hip distance. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and clasp my elbows again, and I'm going to round in, and then I'm going to arch. See if I can press strongly into my toes, rounding in, and then arching. So I'm pulling my elbows up above my ears, and then I'm pulling my elbows towards my knees. So I'm engaging my core and squeezing, and then I'm inhale, lifting and arching. It's almost like a cat-cow, but with our elbows clasped. Strengthening the back as well. Just feels good. So we're going into some spontaneous flow. And then we're going to do that with our hands down on the ground, okay? Same movement. So we're going to inhale, arch and lift, and then we're going to exhale, round it and squeeze the navel towards the sky. Right? Inhale, arch and lift, lifting up. Exhale, go ahead and round it and squeeze. Good. Undulate the spine, let that feel good. Inhale, lift, and then round it. Good. Add a little roll from side to side as we do this. So now we're moving in all directions. Inhale, lift, and then exhale, roll the spine around. Take your time. Maybe you'll find a little sticky spot or something feels like it needs a little bit more attention. Just play with it and let it feel good. Have some fun. So we're going from down dog to cat-cow, and I call that the cat's meow in my AYP practice. Okay, hands to the front of the mat, shoulder distance. Taking a break from that, we're going to come into plank. So arms are straight for a plank. Feet are going to lift no higher than the hips. So play with bringing your toes back down and lifting them up level with the hips. Okay, not too high. We don't want you to slide out. But just try this little bit of a movement. I'm up on my fingertips. So you can have palms flat, but I like to be a little bit more engaged with my upper body. And I like to keep my head in line with my spine. So just tiny little lifts here. We don't have to do very much to get a really good workout with the swing. Engaging the glutes, working the back of the hamstrings, and then we're going to stay in plank, and now we're going to bicycle. And from our bicycling position, we can freestyle and play with going out to the side. Don't kick anybody out to the other side. If anybody is behind you, be mindful of your buddies if you're practicing together. Yeah, swim it out. So this is a really great way to work the legs so that we're getting some leg stretching and strengthening in. Pretty easy, so the longer you do it, the harder it gets, right? And then I want to do these tiny little pulses. So I'm coming back into plank, and then I'm lifting, lifting. Squeeze the glutes here. Lift, lift. Head in line with the spine. Very good. Okay, bring your feet back down. Press your chest to your knees. Straight arms, straight legs. Happy dog. Back it out. Taking a moment to let the hips explore in this space. Stretch the back of the hamstrings after engaging and working the glutes. 5 more breaths. Maybe walk it out in space. See what feels good. And then we're going to come into our floating dog. Okay, so upside down dog, we're going to hook our feet for coming back through plank. If you're new to this, I want you to watch that the foot hooks on the outside of the swing. Okay, most people will hook on the inside, but you don't have a good hook there. You want to lift your knee and bend your knee at the same time so the foot can reach the swing. Pull your heels down towards your bum. So that way, if your knees go too high, you tend to slide out. So your knees stay grounded towards the mat. And then from here, I call it an up dog with straight arms, and I'm going to pull forward so that I'm stretching the belly. And then upside down dog is with straight arms. I press my chest to the center of the mat. Let that feel good. Inhale, lift, up dog, stretch the belly, look up from the heart. We want to keep the neck happy, so don't kink the back of the neck. Exhale, chest towards the center of the mat. Arms are shoulder distance, and we keep them straight the whole time if possible. Engage the shoulder girdle by pulling the shoulder blades down the back. Inhale, lift and look forward, arch. Exhale, nice and slow and controlled, press back. Very good. A couple more rounds like that. Inhale, lift. See if you can play with the variation here. I call it ollies when we lift one arm towards the sky. Let's try the other side, adding a twist. Lots of twists. Oh yeah, that makes it a little harder. Got to balance. Let's try that each side one more time. Inhale, let's lift the left arm up. Twist. Come on back down. Lifting right arm up, twist, stacking the bones. We'll learn about stacking the bones more in the virtual training and all the alignment principles. Now we're going to come back to upside down dog. Immediately bend your elbows, clasp your hands, and let your head, crown of the head, find the ground. I'm going to talk a little louder so you can hear me okay. Coming into a supported headstand, feet are going to stay hooked onto the swing if you can, but keep the knees heavy. You're going to have the hook of the swing on the top of the legs, supporting all of your weight. So there's just a tiny little bit of weight on the crown of the head. Push your forearms into the ground for extra support. And if you need to adjust, go ahead and release your feet from the swing. Pull the knees together, ankle bones together, and then knees are going to pull down towards your chest. So 2 different variations here. And wherever you are, let's play with it. We're going to add a little bit of spin and twist and exploration with the hips, only if the lower back feels good. Grounding through your forearms and elbows. Let your hips explore these twists just a little bit. We're going to get that deep fascia work in the hip flexors with the swing. If you move the hips around, so just be aware if it's intense. That is a free rocking session with your headstand. Okay, great. Yeah, that's it. Squeeze the knees together, open the knees wide, see how that feels. Whatever variation you feel like doing for today. See if you are more advanced, if you'd like to come into scorpion pose or handstand. Those that are beginners, stay where you are. Those that are a little bit more experienced, try whatever variation feels good for today. Make sure you keep your hook with the swing at the hip flexors so you have a safe in and out. If you slide out, it's not a big deal. Come on down to the ground. But if you can stay here for another couple breaths and explore, remember wherever you are, add a twist, try something new. Let it feel good. Very nice. Okay, we're going to exit nice and easy. We're almost done with this sequence. Pull the knees together, release your feet so the inner ankle bones touch, and then lengthen the legs towards the ground. We're all coming through our folded leaf, floating leaf. Just take a moment to pulse, letting the toes come towards the mat, and then lift back up, hip distance. Pulsing in the space, nice and easy. Taking your time. It's like a little seesaw action. We're teeter-totter. And then toes will touch down completely. Arms are straight. We're back into our down dog. Swing below the hip bones. Happy dog. Loop-de-loops. Figure eights. Whatever feels good. Last round. Shake it out. Shake out your hair, your thoughts. Shake it all out. Wiggle it. Whatever feels good. I'm going to walk towards the front of the mat, keeping tension on the swing the entire time. I'm going to come up once again through angel wings and then right back down. 5 breaths, exhaling. You have to really press your feet strongly into the ground in order to lift with a flat back. Exhale back down again. Inhaling, lift. All the way up this time. Lift, 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 lift. And grab for the swing. Ooh, ooh la la. Hello, hips. Once again, take a pause. Check it out. Welcome to your new happy hips. At least they'll be happy pretty soon after all that. And just notice how you're feeling. What still needs attention? What parts of the body are tight? We're still going to get into a bunch of neck stuff later on today. I just want to give you plenty of time to rest, have something to eat, get into cocoon with us if you can. But if you feel like you need to have a break altogether from the swing, we'll be doing part 2 of the live stream starting at noon. But for all those that are ready to relax, let's get into our restorative practice. We're doing great, right on time here. And we're going to spread everything out. For those that are new to the swing, this is the world-class favorite magical Cracker Jack treat, the prize at the end. And for those that have been practicing with me for a while, enjoy the swing, holding you and hugging you for another cocoon. So I grab a big handful. So I'm going to reach around and put it behind my back, bunching up the fabric and getting it underneath my thumb so I can slide it to the knees. If you don't have enough material underneath you, try it again, give it a little hop, you're coming back in, but you want to make sure you stretch that out enough, okay? At the same time, you want to make sure that there's enough material so that you can stretch it over the back of your head, depending on how long you are. This might be something you have to wiggle and get right in the middle so you have the sweet spot. So before we get into final relaxation altogether, I am going to give you guys some leg stretches. I'm going to reach both legs up towards the sky and hook my heels on the inside of the fabric. And I'm going to come into a version of the burrito here. So go ahead and wiggle your hips a little from side to side. There you go. Pushing one hip down and the other hip down, legs out in a V. Very good. And just enjoy the sensation of the hips starting to unfurl after all of that goodness. Letting the body be held and rocked and cradled. The cocooning is so wonderful for the practice. I have more of my solar swing. The swings come in different colors now. Bob has the lunar swing in the dark womb of the cocoon. I feel like I'm in the center of the sun. It's so bright and cheery. It's a color therapy. You can also find the swings in purple, blue, and charcoal, and they're all very pretty. So the swing color will definitely change the experience. So get into your womb. If you're in the dark colors, feel like you're back in the belly. This is our metamorphosis that we get to go into. From deep burrito, you can give yourself a big hug, wrapping your arms over your shoulders, across your chest. Or if you want to go into a few more leg stretches, bend the knees towards the armpits and grab the outer edges of the feet. So I'm going to lift my toes towards the sky, maybe even back behind me, and get a deeper stretch. This is a great time to have the happy baby can become very playful, and you can explore rolling the ankles around, straightening one leg and then the other, just alternating from side to side. But I usually spend quite a bit of time wiggling and twisting and playing in here, getting a good stretch for the back body into the hamstrings, lengthening the long muscles of the back. Try coming into a mini plow where you squeeze the legs together, overhead, legs are straight, and using your hands to help deepen the stretch, pull your knees towards your chest. Very good. Back to happy baby. Maybe come into butterfly where the toes touch and the knees come wide. Just see what feels good. Whatever you need to do. Last bits of stretches, wiggles, twists to be able to drop into final relaxation. Like I mentioned, I'm going to offer a short transmission, which is part of my meditation practice, the quantum healing techniques. I've been doing lots of transmissions for the last several years in my private practice, but I want to offer them more in the swing for you. So you'll get to enjoy that. Or you can just go ahead and drop in to your own personal nap time, whatever you need. If you like the quietude, enjoy that. Otherwise, when I do the transmissions, just let the words wash over you, let them go past the mind and seep into every cell of your being. Just 5 more minutes of leg stretches. We're going to extend them out in front of us. So we're going to pull our fingertips away from our toes and gently fishtail a little from side to side. Letting the hips pop out from one side of the swing to the other along the 9-3 axes. Stretch, stretch, stretch the spine. Longer lines of energy through the arms and legs. Gently pushing the hips up slightly. And then coming back to center, let's lift one leg at a time and scissor the legs apart. So lifting the left leg up, extending the right, holding on to the foot with both hands. Roll the ankles around. Both ankles can explore in the space. And then I can also add a little twist here by bringing my left leg over to the right side of the swing. I can even hook the heel on the back here and see what that's like. And then my left foot, your right foot is going to explore. So just a little wiggle from side to side here, stretching into the IT band. You can also come into a reclined pigeon and hug the shin with your forearms. Whatever feels just right for you today. Enjoy the practice, enjoy the experience. Both legs back up towards the sky and switch. Extending the left, holding on to the right with both hands. Big hamstring stretch. Roll the ankles around, unwind the nervous system, and then see what it's like to add a twist. So I'm going to bring my right foot over towards the left side and maybe even hook the ankle on the back of the swing. It's pretty intense. It's a really great IT band stretch. And then I'm going to let a little bit of swag happen. Just very gently, the left leg can explore. And then I also like doing a reclined pigeon where I wrap my forearms around my shin. So good. All the stretches that you normally do on the floor for yoga, you can get creative and translate them into the swing. Slightly different while floating, that is for sure. Okay, we're ready to release into our Shavasana. I'm going to encourage those that want to just drop in now and extend the legs. Use your leg loops to stretch them out like leg warmers. We're going to put those on, covering the foot all the way to the back of the knee. And second side. Yay. This is more of an extended cocoon so that you're elongated. Some people feel so stretched out they don't want to curl up into a ball. And if you feel like you just want to enjoy wrapping yourself up in the swing, you can pull your knees into your chest and stay in your cocoon without the leg loops. Whatever feels just right for you today. I'm going to give you 5 minutes of quietude and silence to just feel the breath, release the body. Arms can be overhead, elbows bent, or you can give yourself another hug, curl up and wrap your arms around your chest, or extend your arms towards your knees, whatever position feels just right. Make sure you're in a comfortable position that you can stay here for a good 15 minutes. And if you are complete, make sure you take some sort of Shavasana in the swing or on the ground and have a little bite to eat, a drink of water, whatever you need to come back. It's 12 o'clock here, but it's 4 o'clock or 2 o'clock for you guys. So if you're on the West Coast. So wherever you are, we're going to take just a few minutes to relax back. I'll give a transmission at the end here, and then we'll have a little pause and reset for part 2. Really nice. Let the breath breathe you. Take a moment to send a wave of gratitude over the body for showing up, doing such a good job, and being willing to play.
Yeah.
I'm going to start it. Don't put up. We're going to start a phone call.
Yeah.
If it's too loud, if it's interfering with the recording,
Yeah.
you can text me and I'll close the window.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. So that sounds good. Thanks, Roxanne.
Uh-huh.
You're still on.
Okay, we're going to move into a meditation / transmission from the cocoon. Sink back and let yourself continue to relax. But if you prefer the silence, just allow yourself to enjoy the breath and let the words wash over you. Going beyond the mind, sinking back in, taking the time to get connected. This is part of the quantum healing Source Speaks transmissions I've been offering. And while we're floating, enjoying the sensation, like being back in the womb, held and cradled. And feel that central axis, the pillar open, the portals at the crown of the head and the tailbone expand now that there's space. You've opened up the body temple to receive more life force energy, more light, more oxygen, circulation, and letting the tension unfurl from the crown of the head to the tailbone. Sinking back, resting back, enjoying the sensation of being filled up to wholeness with every breath. Imagine yourself surrounded by a bubble of energy, the body of light continues to expand and pulse with every breath. Surrounding the body with a golden bubble. This will keep you safe and secure and surrounded just like this warm embrace that you experience with the swing. We're going to welcome in our high council, our spiritual guidance from the family of light, wisdom keepers, frequency holders, ascended masters. Just welcome in their healing, guidance, love, support, this entourage of energy connecting to the earth plane, the soul of the earth, plugging in and grounding in to the nutrients of the earth. Even when we're floating, imagine this invisible cord grounding you down, as well as our antenna rising up, stretching the body in both directions energetically. Just welcoming in any qualities and aspects that you want to receive or your physical, mental, emotional, or psycho-spiritual well-being. Just let it feel good to open up to more grace and ease. Receiving this transmission across space and time, feeling the healing and recalibration of the body temple. Being transparent to the external sounds, the noises, the distractions. Bring your awareness closer home to the center of your chest, the core of who you are. Let it feel good to seal it in, creating your own sacred space in your body, in your bubble, in your swing. You get to drop back into the metamorphosis. The cocoon is representation of the caterpillar turning into a butterfly. So the imaginal cells rearranging the particles, transforming who we are, happens every time we get into the swing. Feel this safe, sacred bubble of energy around you. Rearranging, releasing the old, welcoming the new, growing your wings, learning to fly. Taking these extended, extra long Shavasana restful phases will give the body time to integrate all the deep work we just did. Getting an extra boost of energy, well-being. Breathe it in, all the love, healing, and support that you need. Rejuvenating and revitalizing the body with every breath. Enjoying the sensation of being filled up to wholeness with the inhalation. And releasing and letting go completely on the exhalation. Both ends of your breath. Deep inhale and a big exhale. Letting go of all excess thinking, worry, stress. Just continually letting it go and washing it away. Feeling this golden nectar pouring down from the heavens and filling you up. Bathing every cell. Rejuvenating the body temple. The functions and organs and systems revitalized. Simply by taking this sacred pause, we get a reset. Refreshing the nervous system, immune system, hormones, endocrine, all the glands and energy managers, the brain function, waves of life force energy just pouring down and filling you up simply by resting and relaxing back. Just 5 more minutes, wherever you are, to receive, plug in, and tune in to the non-physical energies that pulse through all life. That animate all the physical forms. We've made more room and more space for this energy to flow, regenerating the physical body. We're calibrating the senses, the feelings, the emotions, and releasing the excess mental energy, the surface charge, tension on the skin, bringing out the memories within the muscles, giving the nervous system an opportunity to reset. Five more deep breaths wherever you are before coming to completion. Stay in your cocoon for as long as you like and join us for the second half. Take a break if you need to. Continue to rest and sink back if this feels good and come on out nice and slow. If you need a bathroom break, hydration, a little snack, take good care of yourself, and we'll see you back here at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 p.m. Hawaiian time, or wherever you are in the world. So grateful to share this swing practice with you, to give you some new tips, new ways to play, as well as deepening and mastering the basics. We'll come back with some more spiral dynamics, sacred geometrics, activation of the light body. You can tune in to the meditations that I've been offering as a gift on YouTube, and lots of opportunities to connect on my website. All that information will be left in the description for you. See you back here in a few minutes. There'll be another link, so tune in to the YouTube channel Jen Healy 1 to access the second part of the live stream. I'm gonna end this one and start a new one after a little break. Thank you, thank you, thank you.